In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to stop yourself from being burnt out, whether you're a dungeon master or a game master playing a tabletop role playing game. So, I'm going to show you 3 tips on how to do that, what to do with kind of managing your game, how to make sure that your game flows a little bit more smoother, but also what happens when you just need a break and how do you communicate that with your players. So, if you're new to this channel, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you find any of these tips helpful, or feel free to add some of your own. I would love to read them. And yeah, welcome and let's get started. So these 3 tips I was thinking about, I am organizing them to 3 different topics. One, focus on action, not combat. 2, simplifying your game. And 3, talking to your players. For me, this first step is really important because it makes me think about that I don't have to have so much combat in my games in order for my players to have fun. And often thinking about the types of players that join my games, many are, have a mix between those that like to maximize their characters and abilities, to those who like role playing, who those that like adventures and seeing new parts of the world and kind of playing in a sandbox type of environment. And here I think that it's really helped me kind of hone that like not every combat needs to happen. There should be some ways to get out of that combat. There should be different conditions besides just destroying the enemy. Um, and Dagger Heart taught me a lot of that. It taught me that there's these scenes have a certain flow to them that it doesn't always have to happen in this order. So in thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that is a good idea. Typically, the way I try to run my games, I try to keep combat in the forefront, especially if it's an important topic. But every 2 to 3 sessions is fine, in my opinion. I think that combat should have a purpose. There should be a goal in mind. That there's a few questions that you should probably ask yourself when putting a combat in there, just so that it's not arbitrary and you're not having your players just wait for their turn. And milestone is perfect for this, by the way. So if you're running a milestone games at XP, you can definitely align this, make sure it's story driven. But some of those 4 questions are: does the villain need something that the party has? So do they have a MacGuffin? Does the characters that are in your party have some type of backstory or send a link to the villain that he needs or he's looking for? This other question is the party competing against another group? Do they have rivals? Do they have an enemy that is an enemy of the big bad that they're fighting? Are there different alliances that they can form? And what does that look like? What's the party's reputation? Are they well known? Do people know that they're successful? Have they angered a faction? Have they had certain alliances that pisses off the big bad? And if people know they're successful, are people looking to rob them, looking to find ways to take what they have, or to challenge them to take, their title and become the next famous person? And then who has the party wrong? Who did they get in the way of? Who did they stop from accomplishing their goals? Those are just a few questions I like to think about when creating a combat, to make sure that it's still story driven, it's still tied to the characters and to the goals that they're trying to accomplish. And one thing to keep in mind is that action is action. It doesn't have to be combat. It can be a wagon chase. It can be a chasing a thief through the market square. It can be an intense stealth mission and trying to rescue a noble, or trying to navigate a ball without embarrassing yourself or your patron or your party. There's a lot of things that you can do to kind of make sure that it's meaningful for your players, but also to make sure it has stakes. So whatever you do with the action, it should have some real consequences, but also the reward should be there that makes those scenes worthwhile. And when it comes to simplifying your game, I think of 3 main things. There's the of the mind, there's the 3-step prep, and also bullet points. And what I mean by theater of the mind, I'm talking about using your imagination. So a lot of you who are new to D&D, you don't always need maps, to show your battles or to show kind of where you are. You could have it in your imagination, keeping descriptions short, keeping them concise, making sure that they're touching on the five senses is all you really need, and allowing your players to really fill in the world with you. So you're not describing the entire thing for them, you're giving them key moments for them to interact with, and you're just stepping back and letting them explore. And that's kind of just doing that makes it a lot easier for you as DM, as you don't have to prep as much. You just have to kind of have an idea of, so the certain scenes and areas you want your players to interact with. And that goes into my next point with 3-step prep. So if you've seen other videos on this channel, you may see me refer to the Dora the Explorer method. And usually, if you've seen the show, there are 3 things that Dora asks her map to do. So after the map reveals the area, there's 3 different areas that they have to explore. And it's the same concept. Think about 3 places for your session. Think about 3 places that you want them to go. Why are they there? What's their purpose? What's unique about them? And what some things you have planned there. It doesn't have to be crazy. It can also be something where the same prep that you do for the 3 unique places could be the same prep you do for a dungeon with 3 rooms. So I think if you're planning an encounter for a particular session, you want them to touch on every little piece of a puzzle, social encounter, and a combat, you can. But very similar to my previous step, like you don't have to overwhelm your players with too many choices. Stick to very simple, have 3 unique places, have them interact with it, and you should be good to go. And for your bullet points, think about names. They're going to ask you a lot who this person's name is. And I like to have a link to a generator. I'll put that in the comments to where you can generate names. You can also have a sticky note on the side or in a notebook. I found this helpful, kind of have like some like generic monsters that I think would be in these areas and kind of put them together if they come across that. You can also do random tables if you like. I'll put that in the description as well. And just think about some items, treasure, and rewards, things that they're going to come across. Not every area is going to need it. Some area may have lore for them to discover, but keep it very basic. A lot of times, I just have a sheet with some bullet points on some things I want the players to discover during their time in those particular areas. And for the last part, talking to your players, it's both simple and complicated. You want to think about frequency, think about the rules, and think about pause. So say if you're just at that point where you just don't have time, your schedule may have changed, you have other commitments, or you're just doing a lot and you're not getting as much fun out of the game anymore. There's like a few things you can do. You can think about the frequency. Maybe you're spending so much time, or maybe your schedule has changed, you don't have as much time, so you have a weekly game, then you move to a bi-weekly or move to a monthly. Having that kind of trying that out and talking to your players, making sure that like, hey, my schedule has changed, I won't be able to play as much, but I still want to play. How would it look like if we move to a bi-weekly game or a monthly game? And oftentimes your players will be very supportive. They're going to understand. They want to continue playing with you. They'll give you feedback if you ask them directly. And that's something you can do. If you're playing in person and it's harder for you to get to where you need to go in the meeting place to run your games, or it's harder to kind of navigate around those travel things, you can maybe consider even moving it online and using it over Discord, or using something like Albert Rodeo or another VTT to run your games. Those are ways that you can be flexible with with the frequency, but also the rules. So thinking about you know what you want to include in your game. Sometimes you may have different homebrew rules. Sometimes you may have things that you have added. Um, it's always okay to revisit that with your players and ask them if if it's okay that you want to try something new, if you could make some modifications. I like to ask, make those asks, but also give a why. So it's important to say, what you want to change, but also give the why. And as long as you communicate that clearly, your players can understand. Um, and then the pause. The pause is very important. All those things, you can try those things, and they all, maybe your party, your group has said yes, and they're willing to try it, and you tried it, and still you're just too tired, and it's not as fun for you. It may be helpful to take a pause. Maybe you want to play a different game system. Maybe you want to just take a break. Let's see what it looks like in a month or so, or um, let's take the summer off or something. Um, you can also ask, like, would someone else like to step in and be a GM or a DM? And I want to be in a player role. Those things are fine. I think here you can also, evaluate too. If, like, maybe you don't want to do a full campaign. Maybe, like, hey, can we do rotating one shots? Everyone does a one shot. That way you can see how everyone plays, and get a chance to kind of explore the worlds that that your table creates. Or you can put limits on it. What if we're doing a campaign of 5 sessions or a campaign of 10 sessions? All those things are possible if you just kind of talk to your players and just kind of explain the situation. Playing D&D, but also DMing D&D in general, is very much like a fish out of water experience. When you first start, you're not quite sure of the rules, not quite sure how to play. You may feel a little subconscious about role playing and getting involved, but over time it gets easier, and as you build confidence and comfortability with the game, it becomes a lot of fun. And I think that's one of the things that was exciting for me, because I got a chance to actually play a Daggerheart one shot a couple of weeks ago as a DM, and it reminded me what it was like to be in that DM seat again as a new person. And a lot of things I just forgotten, or a lot of things I took for granted, or kind of just got lazy with, that it brought back some of those core skills that was really helpful for me, that helped not just reduce burnout, but also make my prep simpler. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments which of these tips were helpful for you, and if you have one of your own, definitely feel free to share it. I'd love to read it. And until next time, happy gaming.